Well, good morning, everybody. More videos to do. If last night's video wasn't seemingly the worst thing about Canada and people learning, wait to hear what I got in store for you. And I read this clearly this morning. It's been talked about. Trudeau's been throwing the ball around for many years. All Liberals have been. And it's ugly, it's gross, it's wrong. People need to know about it. And if you think it doesn't affect you, you're sorely mistaken. Because it's only the beginning of the end of all rights, of your civil rights. It's true, as Justin Trudeau says, guns, i.e. property, are a privilege in Canada, not a right. You know why that is, folks? Because all your property rights are found in Section 92, which no provincial premier has ever cemented. Because of that, you've given all your civil rights to whomever you elect Prime Minister. Inalienable rights? My ass. Canada, there are no such thing. This country, this vast, huge country, 87% of it doesn't belong to any of you. Doesn't matter first person, white, red, brown, black. The list goes on and on. Pick all variations of creed, color, ethnicity, religious belief. You don't have any real property rights. None. In the country Canada, none whatsoever. Now, there are human rights in this world that outline and make that mandatory for you all. Even China, even communist China, gives 20% of the country available to all the citizens. You can say, oh, it's lease rights, but if you can hold those leases for upwards of 200 years, it's a property right. No different than Canada, except for Canada's almost half that of China. Almost. 13%. It's all you get. 0.2% for all the First Peoples. When you add them all up, they're a little under 10% of the population, but yet get half as much land as all other Canadians who have considerably less than the rest of the free world. That is a fact. That is a fact. The United States of America, much, much larger of a country. Sure, they have parklands and government lands, but they're nowhere near the mass, scale, size, and pure autocratic controlled hands of Canadian politicians. They have a vast amount. We call them the wealthy first class, as outlined in your Canadian Constitution. The latest, folks, handguns to be banned forever from being owned by any Canadians ever going forward. That's the latest super attack by now Justin Trudeau. Latest round of legislation, making it so I wasted all my money and time getting a possession and acquisition license, PAL, for restricted, non-restricted, because Justin says, hey, all that money, all that expense, I don't care. I am a god, and I'm taking it away from you. Only my police, my loyal police force, whom have used those guns to seize children for many, many decades, will be allowed firearms. From now on, the government will decide how firearms are administered on the population, and there's nothing any of you can do about it. That's your supreme dictator, Justin Trudeau. He doesn't care about lawful firearms owners. He doesn't care. He's taking it all away. If you don't see that clearly, if you don't see why I'm leaving and going to the United States, I don't know what to tell you. I've been telling people year after year after year. We are far beyond communism, folks. Newsflash, we always have been. We almost get half as much as your average communist Chinese person. At least in land, anyway. Land availability in Canada doesn't belong to any of you. Only 13%. You can say, well, Alberta's got quite a bit, and, other Western provinces a little bit more. Well, overall, folks, you get nothing of your country. A little over 10%. It's 13%. And when you factor in treaty lands, when you factor in government property, which isn't even included in that 87% of the Crown lands, the rest of Canada, in your private properties, there's also the government lands too. It's more like about 10%, or half as much as communist China. And people still don't see a problem with it. Housing crisis, epic proportions, worse than the island of nations, condensed population UK. We're worse in Canada, a much, much larger country, but for some reason, people can't wake up to the idea that the government holds all the lands. They make all the money, and they hand you the bills. They enrich their wealthy oligarch friends 10 times worse than what they accuse Vladimir Putin and his oligarchs of doing. Justin Trudeau and all the political parties do much, much worse than that each and every day of your lives. And Canadians sit there, they don't understand. How can you be so dense? Share this video. Gun rights, restricting handguns now from everybody. That's the newest. That's what's coming down the pipeline. Hate to say it, but NRA, CCFR, as I've said for years, the way they're going about this is wrong. It's constitutionalism. It's provincial constitutionalism. Your civil rights outlined in the Canadian Constitution. Justin Trudeau has no privy to this. It's the premiers who allow him to do it. And why? Because they're just as fucking corrupt as he is. Filling their back pockets and running away with all the wealth that you've transferred to them. You don't get represented in any way, shape, or form. And because guns are property, folks, if they can take those at will, screw you out of all your money, your investments, your property at will, as forever and a day they can throw you off your land any time they want to, as they've done forever and a day since and before 1867. That is the essence of the very autocratic, full-on dictatorship you call Canada. And people are this naive, this stupid. USA, all civil rights and property rights, water rights, are enshrined constitutionally in each and every single state of the United States of America. In fact, every American Indian nation has their own constitution ratifying, binding all of those rights. But not Canada. Never Canada, because none of you mean anything but the shit on the bottom of the politicians' boots. Justin Trudeau believes he's a god, and you're his slaves, the vast amount and majority of you. The only kinship he has is with his fellow wealthy autocrats all over the world. Trudeau Foundation, worth massive amounts of money that filthy lunatic never earned. He stole from all of you by the trillions. Him and his father and all of his kin, Conservatives, NDP, Bloc, PPC. Look at Maxime Bernier. They're all thieves and pigs at the troughs, raping, pillaging, and plundering you. And if you think gun rights are not a big deal, well, if you own any land whatsoever, you might as well kiss that goodbye, because it starts there. And what's to stop them from removing all those property rights that aren't enshrined in any legally binding constitution in any province in Canada? You only own what you own because the government of the day says you can. They have millions of ways of stripping it from you by absolute force, upwards and including take away your children while armed with firearms, handguns. They've done it many, many decades, over and over and over again. Not just to the First Peoples. Look at your history books, but people don't want to. That's my video. Get it out there. Share, share, share. It's the truth. It's the end of Canada, and people don't see it. You are far beyond the realm of communism. You are a constitutional monarchy designed to re-implement an old version of the British Empire. Full-on dictatorship. Way worse than any communism. Worse. I know.